Good morning, all of you. So, in the previous class, we discussed about EMF, induced EMF produced in case of rotating objects, right? And so, now let us see a few problems based on that rotating objects here. Yesterday, we started already some of the problems there. So, now let us see a few more problems based on that. So, now sometimes they will give an arrangement like this. This is a circular wire, circular ring, let us consider. Now this is a rod of radius length r, which is equal to its radius. Now a resistance is connected here. Let us write a resistance r is connected here. So this is OA and this is some B. This or they will represent like it is above this plane here, or so that it can rotate freely here. That such an arrangement is there. You can draw such an arrangement there, right? So note down that problem. On a circular ring of radius r, on a circular ring of radius r, a rod of length r, a rod of length r, which is connected at the center of the ring such that it is free to rotate, it is free to rotate on the circumference of the ring, on the circumference of the ring. The resistance of this rod is R naught. The resistance of this rod is R naught. Another resistance R is connected between circumference and the center. Another resistance is connected between circumference and the center. The rod is rotating with uniform angular velocity omega. The rod is rotating with uniform angular velocity omega. In a normal magnetic field B. In a normal magnetic field B. Then find current flowing through the rod. Current flowing through the rod. Answer the same question. Answer the same question. If the length of the rod is equal to 2r and is placed along its diameter as shown. Placed along its diameter as shown. That means now here the rod is only length of radius r. Now here what I am doing here is I am taking a length of 2r here, the total diameter I am taking. So just you need to answer in this both the diagrams, and there you may mention that the resistance of the ring is 0. The resistance of the ring is 0. So that means we are not taking any resistance for the ring here, right? And so simply you can consider this as a, if you are converting this into electrical circuit, then you can solve it easily. So first let us identify the which end will be the higher potential here. We discussed already in the last class, we discussed already what is the induced EMF produced in the ring. And so now if I consider this current, that means field is into the plane. Now at this instant, now the conductor is moving in upward direction. So the current is flowing from A to O. Current is flowing from A to O means then you can say that O will be the higher potential, right? So I can represent this as, like this, having some internal resistance here. So we can represent like this. Now this is another resistance R here. So this is our circuit, what we can say here, right? And so then this is some EMF E, and this is some R naught, and this is the R here, external resistance. And so sometimes they may give the resistance for this ring also. Then you know, if suppose the resistance is there here, suppose this is the point A and this is the point B if you are taking, you know, this this part of this AB and this part of this AB both are in parallel. So you can find the effective resistance there. So sometimes they may give that resistance for that part also. So here that where that induced EMF is where E is equal to what is the induced EMF produced here? B omega L square by 2. Here that L is nothing but R. So R square by 2 I can write. So this is induced EMF here. Now this is a simple circuit here. So we can convert this circuit. That means this we are converting like this. And now this we can convert this as so just I can convert it into a circuit like this, right? So this is our EMF V and resistance R0 and this is the R. So just you can connect these two ends here. That means instead of these two wires you can take any one of that wire, and so then you can connect like this. And so therefore the current passing through that we can write this as I is equal to E by R plus R0. Just you need to write this effective resistance here, so that I can write this as B omega R square by 2 into R plus R0 we can write. So that will be the EMF required there, right? That means current flowing through that rod here. And sometimes they will ask like if it is rotating in horizontal plane, what is the force required to maintain that omega constant, they will ask. Is it clear? If it is rotating with a constant angular velocity, then what is the force required to maintain the constant angular velocity? You know, when it is when just like if it is leased like this, then magnetic force, because of this current, then magnetic force will act on this. And so now the direction of this magnetic force we can identify by using this left hand rule. Field is into the plane, and here we are saying that current is flowing along this direction here. So then field is into the plane and current is flowing along this direction, means then magnetic force will be there like this. And so that magnetic force you need to take at the center. Actually every element that magnetic force will be there. So you can take at the center here, because length of this rod is constant and magnetic field is also constant. You can take it as acting at the center. And so now this magnetic force, you know, BIL formula you can apply. Then equal amount of external force now we need to apply here. An equal amount of external force you need to apply, so that it will rotate with the constant angular velocity. Same as that of we discussed such a problem on a in case of translatory motion on a U-shaped means on a parallel rails, U-shaped frame, right? In that also we discussed like what is the external force required to maintain the constant speed. So then similarly here constant velocity, then you can take like this. And then next, suppose if the case is given like this, if it is given as a diameter, then just you need to identify that EMF will be produced in the OA part, and additionally EMF will be produced in that OB part also. So then both you need to consider here, right? And so now again in this part the same situation here. So current is flowing like this, so that O will be the higher potential. Now let us take for this part here. Now for this part the velocity will be there in downward direction here. So field is in into the plane, and now velocity is in downward direction. So current is flowing again towards the center. Current is flowing towards the center means then O will be the higher potential there. And so then again this you can convert this into circuit as, so that means it is having some resistance here. Now there is some this is negative terminal and positive terminal O. This is the point O, and again this is the positive terminal and this is the negative terminal, and this is another point B here. That means this is A, this is B, and this is A, what we considered there. And so then another resistance is there here, right? This is external resistance. So now the situation will be there like this. This is R0 resistance and this is also R0 resistance. So one wire will be there between these two, and so this connecting wire will be there like this. Now that will be our resulting circuit here. Now we can convert that into equivalent circuit there, right? So I can convert this as these two cells I am joining like this. So I can draw this circuit as, say this circuit I can redraw it as this is a point O, then I can draw this circuit like this, and another cell is connected here. So then another cell is connected like this, and so then in parallel with that we can consider this another resistance here, this common resistance, so that one end is connected here and other end is connected here. These 2 points were joining, so this point also can join here. So now this will be the equivalent circuit. So just you can apply our principle of parallel cells, like this is our EMF E and this also E, and having this resistance R0 and R0, and this is the resistance R. Just that is two identical cells are in parallel, then identical cells are in parallel means you can apply this effective EMF. So where that E is given by, where that induced EMF E is given by B omega R square by 2, now we can write same, because it is rotating with the same angular velocity, so that same EMF you will get. So in each rod, in each of this radius are here that value and here that value now you will get. And so now let us find this effective EMF here. So when cells are in parallel, so then E effective, now you can write this as, we know already this formula, E1 R2 plus E2 R1 by R1 plus R2, now we can write, which we discussed already in our current electricity. And this R effective is given by when two cells are in parallel, like R1 R2 by R1 plus R2, now we need to write. Effective resistance also now we need to write when cells are in parallel, when you are replacing the two cells with a single cell. And so now this expression now we can write here, this effective EMF will be equal to, this value is nothing but E into R naught plus E into R naught by R naught plus R naught, because all are identical cells here, so that this E effective value I can write this as same as that of our E you will get, right? So that means when identical cells are there, then EMF will be same only. And R effective value I can write this as effective internal resistance R naught into R naught by R naught plus R naught, now you can write here. So R naught plus R naught, so which is equal to R naught by 2. So that now I can replace this circuit as a single cell and a single internal resistance here. So this is our resulting circuit here. So this is our E net is equal to E only, but R effective is equal to R naught by 2 we need to write, and this is our R. So in that we need to find the effective current. So net current passing through that cell we need to write here. So right. So that means if they ask the current passing through this resistance R, then that current passing through that resistance R is E by R plus R naught by 2, now we can write. So it is 2E by 2R plus R naught. So then 2E is nothing but B omega R square by 2R plus R naught, now we can write. So that is our current passing through that resistance there, right? So is it clear how to solve this? Just you can convert that into electrical circuit. So once if you are converting that into electrical circuit, you can apply it easily. So then, so as I said in the beginning of this topic, in this you need to apply sometime, that means in some problems we need to apply like a principles of current electricity, the different principles of the current electricity. And sometimes if it is having some resistance, you need to apply that like a Kirchhoff law or the nodal method, any of those methods, principles of current electricity, now we need to apply here. Like if it is having some resistance here and this also having some resistance and this also having some resistance, then circuit will become complicated, then we need to apply that. That means you can't easily identify the series and parallel combinations in some cases, and so then you need to apply this Kirchhoff laws there, right? So next write is so this is a wire of radius A, let us consider here, having some resistance. This is a point A, D, and this is the point C I am taking here, and this is some like angle theta, and this is the point O, and this is the point B I am taking here. So it is now this frame is revolving about this point here, about this point. So in this the uniform magnetic field is there into the plane, right? So next write this, write that problem. The resistance per unit length of a wire, the resistance per unit length of a wire is lambda. The resistance per unit length of a wire is lambda. It is bent into a semicircle of radius A. It is bent into a semicircle of radius A as shown. If this frame is revolving with angular velocity omega, about a point B, lying on its circumference as shown, in a normal magnetic field B, then find first question in that, potential difference between the points A and D. A and D. And next question. If A and D are connected by a conducting wire of zero resistance, if A and D are connected by a conducting wire of zero resistance, then what is the potential difference between AB? Then what is the potential difference between A and B? And so now let us write this equation here. That means just it is rotating about this point. So for non-linear conductors, we discussed already. For non-linear conductors, how to solve that problem. We need to take the shortest distance between the two ends of that conductor. So which we discussed already in our previous class, right? So that means now if you are finding the potential difference between AB, if you are finding, for example, so just you need to take this length here, right? So you need to take this length, AB length. Similarly, if you are finding potential difference between BD, so then you need to consider these 2 points here. So then AD length you need to, BD length you need to write here. So let us write those lengths first here by using just geometry. You can write those lengths there. So just I am taking this first of all AB length. So now AB length I can write this as, you can resolve this into components like this. That means you can draw this normal, and so that this will converts into theta by 2 and theta by 2 this angle. So that this side you can write this as, this side is A, and so this side is A by A into sine theta by 2. So total is 2A sine theta by 2. Now you can write. So 2A sine theta by 2. And next similarly write this BD. So then that BD value now we can write this as BD value now I can write this as, if this angle is theta, then I can say that this angle will be theta by 2, right? So that means this total angle is theta. So this angle now we can take it as theta by 2. Now you know it is a right angle triangle here, ABD. It is a right angle triangle. So in that right angle triangle now I can write this side AB as, so then I can write this as, this is the 2A. So 2A cos theta by 2. Adjacent side for the triangle now I can write. And so then it is 2A cos theta by 2 now I can write here, right? So that will be that BD side. And so next here we can write the potential difference. For potential difference, as we discussed in our previous class, like shortest distances like AB and BD values now we can consider there. Like suppose if the EMF is there, conductor is rotating like this. Now instead of this BA or AB circular arc, you need to take this as a straight conductor here, right? So for the straight conductor, let us identify that which end is a higher potential there. Now omega value we are taking like this. So field is into the plane, and now the angular velocity, that means velocity of this conductor is like this. So current is flowing from A to B. So current is flowing from A to B means then B will be the higher potential. So what we can write here is VA minus VB minus VA is equal to. So this value now we can write this as so this is EBA, potential difference between those two, B omega into AB whole square by 2. So that is our B omega L square by 2. Now we need to write, L is nothing but that AB value now we need to write here. So this is our B omega, then into this value now we can substitute here. So the 4A square you will get, the 2 will be cancelled. So I can write here 2A square sine square theta by 2. So that is our induced EMF produced between AB. Now similarly between BD, let us write here. So in a similar way now again you can say that B will be the higher potential for this BD and D also. So that means that for that also now I can write this as VB minus VD. So I am writing this as EBD. So this value again B omega into BD whole square by 2 we can write. And so that now this value I can write this as BD is equal to, so again you can substitute this value here, so that I can write this as 2B omega square cos square theta by 2, right? And so now let us identify the polarities. That means we already mentioned these polarities here. So now we need to find the potential difference between A and D. So this is our VB minus VD, VA. So then let us take this as equation 1 and let us take this as equation 2 here. So that means this is again you can mention this as for getting that clarity about these polarities. Now we can write like this. And so now you may find the difference between these two equations here, so that you will get this potential difference between these 2 points here, right? Suppose I am finding the potential difference between equation 2 minus equation 1. I am writing here. So equation 2 minus equation 1. So that what we can write here is VB minus VD minus VB minus VA is equal to T B omega square. This is cos square theta by 2 minus sin square theta by 2. Now we can write. And so now this is nothing but what we can write is VA minus VD. So this is equal to 2B omega, omega square is not there. 2B omega only, omega square is not there in the formula. So this is only omega. And you know this value can be written as cos theta. Now we can write, because cos square theta minus sin square theta is nothing but cos 2 theta. So now we can write this expression here, right? And here this term will be like a square will be there. Instead of omega square, a square you need to substitute here, BD value. This value 4a square cos square theta, so that a square will be there. And here also that a square will continue here. Right, now this is a expression for that potential difference between A and D. And so now this is the next, they are asking that we are connecting A and D with this conducting wire here, so that it becomes a closed loop. Now they are asking potential difference between B and D. So potential difference between B and D, you may get a doubt like potential difference between A and B is already calculated. Now this is nothing but potential difference, right? So this is a potential difference if the circuit is open circuit like this. If no current is passing through the closed circuit, then this will be the EMF and that will be the potential difference. But once the when you are connecting A and D by a conducting wire, it becomes a closed circuit. In closed circuit means then current is flowing to the closed circuit. And so now as we know, this part will behave like a cell. So this cell is now having some internal resistance. When cell is having some internal resistance and current is flowing to that cell, then potential difference across the terminals is different from the EMF, right? So you need to write the formula like E minus IR. So now that principle you need to apply here. So you should be very cautious between the words like potential difference and EMF when the circuit is closed and when the circuit is open. So when it is open, potential difference and EMF, there is no much difference between them. So but when the circuit is closed and when the current is flowing, then there is a large difference between them. Both are totally different values, right? And so now let us do that part here now. So then I can write this closed circuit I am drawing like this. So I can mention this circuit as, so this is our B is our higher potential for this part. So this is having some resistance. So this is our B, this is A and D. Now this is having some zero resistance, right? And so now this is some having some cell of EMF, say E1, and this is E2. And its resistance is, I am taking it as R1, now it is R2 here, right? So that those are some resistances there. Now some current is flowing in that circuit here. So when current is flowing to the circuit, now you can say that suppose if this value is current is flowing along this direction, let us consider here. So that means that value actually, I can write this as this current is flowing along this direction, suppose I am assuming here. So then that depends on actually the theta value, whether current is flowing in clockwise or anti-clockwise directions, that depends on the theta value. So you can assume that accordingly you will get the potential difference. There is no problem with that. So then I am assuming current is flowing in the circuit along this direction here, right? That means what we are assuming is this cell is discharging. That's the thing what we are assuming here, right? And so now you can write you can do the remaining calculation here. Suppose now I can write the current flowing to the cell here. So the current flowing to the cell, what we can write is net EMF by effective resistance we can write. So now that net effective net EMF is nothing but both are now in opposite direction. So that E1 is nothing but EBA minus EBD. by this both the resistors will be in series, so R1 plus R2 now I can write. So this value is, you can substitute those values and you can simplify that, and so then this value is nothing but this value is you can mention directly this value here. I think if you are writing this value, then it will be easy, and for that you need to consider this current is flowing in opposite direction. Otherwise then minus here you will get this minus cos theta if you are substituting this. So just I am reversing that so that you will get the same value, then calculation will be easy for us because we already calculated that difference there, right? So we calculated already the difference here. So I am taking this current is flowing along this direction here. So here current is flowing along this direction like this, in anti-clockwise direction we are taking, so that here I can write this as this value now we can write here EBD BD minus EBD minus EBA, and so that this value we already calculated there. This is 2B omega square. This value we already calculated here, that difference between those two values. So omega A square cos theta by R1 plus R2. Now R1 and R2 values now we need to write here. So R1 is nothing but resistance of this part here. The resistance per unit length is given there. So resistance of this part we can write as the length of this part into that lambda we can write. Length of this part I can write as A into theta, right? So that gives the length of that part AB into that lambda plus A into the remaining angle. The remaining angle means that pi minus theta now we can write into lambda. So now this will be the R1 and R2 values. So now after that, according to our that means according to the direction what we are taking, that cell will be now in charging state. This cell is in charging state. We need the potential. Now I can write this as potential difference between A and B. So now this value now we can write this as potential difference between AB means EMF minus IR1 you need to write here. So this is the thing what I am saying here. Since now we are taking, we need to take it as a cell. That cell is now in discharging, charging state. So charging state means E plus IR we need to write. So if you are taking in opposite direction, then you will get it is in discharging state there. So then accordingly, then you need to write this as E minus IR value you need to write. So now substitute that E value. Now E means it is nothing but EAB. EMF of only that cell now we need to write. So that therefore this potential difference VAB now I can write this as VAB means we already mentioned there 2B omega A square sin square theta by 2 sin square theta by 2 plus IR1, and substitute this I value. Further you can simplify this, that theta term will be cancelled. So then substitute that simplified I value here, so that you will get this potential difference between them. So do that further simplification there. So like that. So that is the main thing, main important difference between the potential difference and EMF here. When the current is flowing, then wherever the part they are asking, then E minus IR or E plus IR now we need to apply there accordingly, right? Next, let us say this another problem. So a semicircular wire is rotating here, a wire of radius R. So now here a resistance is connected. The only resistance is this R, let us consider here. Now say it is revolving with angular velocity omega. Now it is the radius is A, and now there is a uniform magnetic field B is there here. Just mention that a semicircular wire of radius A, semicircular wire of radius A is revolving about an axis AB shown in the figure with angular velocity omega, a uniform magnetic field normal to the plane is applied. normal to the plane is applied. The only resistance in the circuit is R as shown. The only resistance in the circuit is R as shown. Find the average power developed in one revolution. Find the average power developed in one revolution or in one time period, whatever it is, both are same. So that means now whatever the average power developed in the resistor in one revolution, now we need to calculate here, right? So the average power. So we know already this power in power calculation in current electricity, but here such a similar calculation is there, not exactly same, but a similar calculation is there. So first of all, now it is revolving here. When it is revolving, you can write like it is a semicircle. That means you can consider it as like it is similar to that of a circular loop rotating about its diameter. Now this is nothing but you can take it as a diameter, right? Now it is revolving about its diameter here. It may be a circle or a complete circle or a full circle. So it is rotating about its diameter. When it is rotating about diameter, we already discussed that an alternating voltage will be produced there. So the same thing we need to write here. So that means I can write this as magnetic flux. So flux passing through that loop. Flux through semicircle. So phi is equal to BA into cos omega t. Now we can write BA theta, that means the theta value we can write as omega t. Now here A means, since here only that semicircle is there, so then we write the area of the semicircle only. I will substitute it later. Is it clear? If it is a complete circle, then you need to write this area of the circle we need to write. And so now this is induced EMF is nothing but minus d phi by dt. And so therefore I can write this as minus d by dt of B A into like cos omega t, and so therefore this value is BA omega into sin omega t, right, after differentiation of this. And so then after that what we can write is power developed. Now we can write here. So power produced in that resistance we can write as E square by R, that means like V square by R formula. Now that V is nothing but this expression. So now this is, you can observe that this is the instantaneous power here. So then this is sin omega t whole square by R. So this is the instantaneous power. Now they are asking like average power here. BA omega whole square into sin square omega t by R. Now they are asking average power. So now it is a function of time. You know, whenever a quantity is a function of time, then you can calculate our average value by using that integration, right? And so then actually this type of calculations we will get in alternating current. So then you can easily simply solve here. Therefore this average power is given by, so average power, this P average is equal to integral of P into dt by integral of dt. So we need to write, this is a general way of calculating the average values if that function is a function is like a if it is a variable function here. So it's a, you can, even if the velocity is a function of time, then you need to calculate its average value like this, right? So it's a general formula, not only for this problem, it's a general formula, and this type of more calculations we will discuss in AC circuits, our next topic. That means after this completion of electromagnetic induction, we will discuss like AC. So in that we will get those more calculations related to this. And so now simply so here what I can write here is P average is equal to, this constants I am writing outside here, BA omega whole square by R into the remaining value is sin square omega t dt from 0 to t by this integral of dt and limit 0 to t means you will get t, right? So that is our calculation here, and further you may simplify that. The integration of this value will get 1 by 2. I hope all of you know the integration very well. So integrate, substitute that limits. And so while substituting this t value, remember you need to write this omega as 2 pi by t and then substitute the t. So the t term will be cancelled and you will get a particular value. Omega value you need to write it as 2 pi by t. and then while substitute that instead of this small t, then substitute this capital T value, then you will get this answer for that. You need to get this value as 1 by 2. Check that value and then simplify that, right? So that its value will be b square omega square a square by 2r you will get. That will be the average power there. So do that simplification. So b square omega square a square by 2r. So this value will get it as 1 by 2. So check that integration, right? And a means finally we can substitute here that a value is this, where a value is pi a square by 2. You need to remember this, not pi a square by 2. So finally substitute that value because we are taking only half here, semicircle. So write the next problem related to this. And so now there will be some situation like here let us write a simple problem which you can solve easily. So then this value is just a plane is shown here. So one rod is, so this value is one rod is placed like this and other rod is placed like this here, right? So this is I am taking this as PQR. Now this total arrangement is rotating about this y-axis with angular velocity omega. Now there is some magnetic field is there, uniform magnetic field is there in this region here. So that magnetic field is parallel to the x-axis. So at the instant shown, you need to find the potential difference between PQ and potential difference between QR. So just write that an L-shaped rod, this length is L and this length is also L, is rotating about y-axis, with constant angular velocity omega, in a uniform magnetic field, directed along x-axis. At the instant shown in figure, find the potential difference between PQ and QR. Find potential difference between PQ and QR. Or sometimes they may ask like Q and R. If we calculate like PQ and QR, you can also find the potential difference between P and R also. And so now you can easily solve this problem. I think further explanation is also not required. I can say potential difference produced across this PQ value. PQ value if you consider, then potential difference produced across that PQ value is 0, right? Because PQ is parallel to the magnetic field. We know whenever those vectors are like L bar, B bar out of omega bar, if any two vectors are parallel, then induced EMF is 0. So that we can mention here as induced EMF produced between P and Q is 0. Because L bar is parallel to that of B bar, now we can write here the reason. And between PQ, QR value, now we can write here that QR is there, now it is there perpendicular to its length, right? That means now it is moving perpendicular to its length. So at that instant now the velocity is perpendicular, and so its velocity also you can write it as omega L, right? So simply now what I can write here is this QR value, now we can write this as BVL or BLV formula. And so now this V is nothing but L omega, now we can write here into L. Is it clear? So every element of this rod QR is having that velocity of L omega only. Its velocity is not variable like rod is rotating there. And so now its velocity you can write this as L omega. So at that instant it is perpendicular to its length, and so that you can write this calculation, you can write this value here, right? So it is not rotating like this, so that you can't apply our B omega R square by 2 formula. It is now having that velocity at this instant. What is the velocity of this point means? Then into the plane L omega. Velocity of this point is into the plane L omega, because it is at a distance of L from the axis of rotation, this axis of rotation here. And suppose like if they ask which end is a higher potential means, now we can apply our right hand rule there. So here field is now along this direction, velocity is into the plane. So velocity is now is into the plane. So current is flowing in downward direction from R to Q. So then Q is a higher potential there. Therefore, we can write this as VQ minus VR is equal to B omega L square. Now we can write. So that is the potential difference between them, right? And so now there is some another situation like when the rod is rotating like a conical, like in the form of like a conical pendulum, or like it is rotating like this. So now let us say this, it is rotating about this vertical axis at a fixed angle theta here. So just write this. So now let us take here magnetic field is there into the plane. So next let us write this problem. A rod of length L, is rotating about an axis passing through one end A, about an axis passing through one end A, such that it makes an angle theta with axis of rotation. It makes an angle theta with the axis of rotation. In a normal magnetic field B, that means here magnetic field B is there into the plane. Magnetic field B is applied into the plane. Find induced EMF produced in the induced EMF produced in the rod AB. Induced EMF produced in the rod AB. So now is it clear? Now it is actually, if you are rotating like this, then it will rotate in the form of like a cone. It will covers a cone here. So then that is surface of this cone here. That is a given situation. The theta value will be a constant value. And so now in this case, now we can write it as like suppose you can take a small element. Now here in this case, velocities of the different elements will be different, right? So velocity of if you are taking B, that will be different, or if you are taking an element here, that will be different. So velocities of different points will be different. So you can take a small element here. So then you can write the velocity of that element here. So let us take this as a small element here. So then velocity of this small element, now we can write here. Suppose this length is x I am taking, and so that this is dx, and so then its length is L, let us consider here. And so then let us consider an element like that, right? So here magnetic field, let us take, if you are taking magnetic field at that, then induced EMF you will get it as 0, because at that instant the velocity will be like parallel to the plane you will get. So let us change the magnetic field direction here. So let us take the magnetic field directed as like in the downwards or upward direction. Let us consider here. Here I am taking this magnetic field is directed along this direction. So there is some uniform magnetic field along this direction here. So change the magnetic field direction there. Magnetic field direction along that. Because if you are taking, as I said, either perpendicular to the plane or parallel to the plane, you will get, then induced EMF will be 0 at that instant. Can you say why? Because if the rod is rotating like this or like this or like this, you may consider here velocity of this element will be like this. If it is rotating like this, then velocity of this element will be like this. And we are taking field is either perpendicular, that means either into the plane or out of the plane. So then it will be perpendicular to that velocity, parallel to that velocity of that element there. And so that induced EMF will be 0 in that case if the field is like that. So I am changing that field direction here. And so now let us write for the small element here. So for small element, induced EMF, now we need to write. So induced EMF for the small element, I can write this as dE is equal to B into omega B into velocity of that element. Now I can write this as x sine theta into omega. So this distance will be x sine theta, you will get. This distance will be x sine theta. So now from the axis of rotation, this element will be x sine theta. So r omega formula. R is now x sine theta. X sine theta into omega. That is our velocity into dx. So b v l. This total is x sine theta into omega is our v value. So into x. And now let us identify the angle between this velocity and this magnetic field also. The angle between velocity and magnetic field. And so now the angle between velocity and magnetic field is nothing but you can consider like velocity at that instant will be along this direction here. Now the magnetic field is there downward direction there, right? So now velocity is perpendicular to the magnetic field. Is it clear how it is? So now velocity of this element will be along this direction. Like suppose the rod is revolving like this we are taking. So velocity of this element will be the rod is coming out like this. So then velocity of this element will be there like this and the magnetic field is in downward direction. They are perpendicular to each other. But now here you need to observe the angle between dl bar like length element and the magnetic field. So now dx we are taking along this direction here and the magnetic field is there along this direction. So there exists some angle theta between dx and magnetic field here. So that we need to take this dx sine theta. Is it clear there? Our dx you can observe that our dx is along this direction here and magnetic field is along this direction. So this angle is our theta here. Magnetic dx element is along this direction and this is our magnetic field. So you need to take our components like dx cos theta parallel to the field and dx sin theta you will get like this. You know due to this parallel component because these two are parallel magnetic field due to that element will be 0. So then only we need to consider this perpendicular distance there or perpendicular component. So that is nothing but what I am taking here. So this is dx sin theta I am taking there. Then just you may integrate this equation here. So now that theta is a constant value. So finally you can write this as b omega into sine square theta value is a constant value. So x dx. So therefore this is b omega sine square theta into integral of x dx. Now x varies from 0 to L. So finally what we can write is b omega sine square theta into L square by 2. Right. So it is the induced EMF in that case. Now in a similar problem, if I if I ask a question like if it is oscillating, the rod is oscillating, then calculate that induced EMF in such a case there. If the rod is oscillating here, then let us find the induced EMF in such a case. That means now the same, take the same example here. Instead of rotating, now here what I said here is this rod is rotating here so that this end will form, will cover say circle, horizontal circle. Now what I am saying is if this rod is oscillating here, so if this rod is oscillating about this point here, about this axis at this instant shown, now it is like this, now it is oscillating here. This rod is oscillating about this axis here. So then just we need to find the induced EMF produced in this. So now it is oscillating here. When it is oscillating, then induced EMF we need to calculate here. Now here you may consider that magnetic field either into the plane. Now in this case you can consider into the plane also. Now I am taking this magnetic field is there into the plane for example. Or you may take like this also. Both the cases you can calculate here. Because even if it is having that into the plane, now velocity and magnetic field are not parallel to each other. Now it is having that velocity along this direction here. Perpendicular to this rod it will be having that velocity. Is it clear? Now the rod is oscillating like this. Rod is oscillating like this, and so now you need to calculate this angular velocity as a function of this theta you need to calculate here. And for this let us consider this rod is revolving, rod is released from this position, let us consider here. The rod AB is released from the horizontal position. When it reaches to this position you need to calculate this angular velocity. So write it as a next problem and solve that problem. A rod AB is free to oscillate in a vertical plane about an axis passing through its one end. About an axis passing through its one end. There is a uniform magnetic field B is applied in horizontal direction. A uniform magnetic field B is applied in horizontal direction. The rod is released from the horizontal position. The rod is released from the horizontal position. So then let us take this theta value with this, so that this theta will become angular displacement here. So when it turns through an angle theta, find induced EMF produced in the rod. Find induced EMF produced in the rod. Induced EMF produced in the rod. And also find maximum EMF produced in it. Maximum EMF produced in it. Right? So solve that problem. So further take a small element and write the induced EMF produced for the small element and then integrate that. Right? And so next I am taking like another problem. Here I am taking like 2 points, 2 circular discs here. So 2 circular discs let us consider here, or circular rings you may consider here. So one is of radius say r and other is of radius 2r. So these topmost points are A and this is topmost point is B. And this is a conducting plane, let us consider here. Now there is some magnetic field into the plane. Now both are moving with the velocity v and rolling without slipping here. These rings are rolling without slipping. So just write that. Sometimes they will give the problem like both are identical rings. Now I am taking some different rings there. So two rings of radii r and 2r are rolling without slipping on a conducting surface with angular velocity on conducting surface in opposite direction with velocity of their center of masses with their speed of center of masses, write that as speed, with their speed of center of mass as v. Find the potential difference between topmost points A and B of the rings shown. Find the potential difference between topmost points of the rings A and B shown. B is a uniform magnetic field acting in the region in horizontal direction. B is a uniform magnetic field acting in that region in horizontal direction. So is it clear? So that is the situation here. Now the given information is it is rolling without slipping. So then we know the rolling concepts here. The rolling without slipping we know already. So now rolling, when the body is in pure rolling motion, now you can consider it as a pure rotation about point of contact, because that point of contact will become an instant axis of rotation there. That means now this value, now we can consider it as, if the object is in pure rolling about this point, now it can be it is rotating like with angular velocity omega, let us take here for example. Now it can be taken as pure rotation about this point here, right, with the same angular velocity omega. So that principle now we can apply here. So just to mention that when an object is pure rolling, when an object is in pure rolling on a horizontal surface, it can be treated as pure rotation about point of contact. It can be considered as pure rotation about point of contact. So that means now it is pure rolling. Now this object is in pure rolling here. Now it is in pure rotation here. So now this object is in pure rotation. So you can consider this case like this, right? And so now in that case, now what we can consider here is when the object is in pure rotation, now we can say that instead of, we need to find the potential difference between these 2 points here. Like suppose I am taking this point as C and this point as D, let us consider for example. Now potential difference between this AC means, for example, then you can replace this total ring by a rod here. This rod is diameter, rod of length equal to 2r. So now it is rotating with an angular velocity omega about this axis. Now we can consider. Then whatever the EMF is developed here, then same potential difference will be there between these two ends of the ring also, right? And so now let us use that concept here. So that means now what we can consider there is this given case we can equivalently we can consider it as this like this is one rod. Now we can consider here AC. So let us take off length R and 2 are there. So I will reduce this length here. So this is our AC now I am taking here. So now this rod is rotating with angular velocity omega 1. So which is equal to that omega now we can write as V by R. And its length is 2r here. Is it clear? The angular velocity of this object now we can take it as V by R, because this point of contact is to be at rest here. Velocity of this point of contact is at rest means then this V is along this direction, then R omega should be along this direction, so that the object is said to be in pure rolling motion along this direction. And so that this V is equal to R omega formula you can apply. And similarly for this, if you are writing here, then V is along this direction, then R omega direction will be along this direction, but here for this 2R omega. So let us take this as omega 2 and omega 1 here. So for this what we can write is that omega 2 value now we can write this as V by 2R. So omega 2 value, right? So there is a difference between those two cases. If both are given as identical, then omega will be same only. That means this is of radius R and this is of radius R is given. Then you can take them like that. Same omega now we can consider. Now this another wire is like this. So this is our BD. Now this can be taken as revolving with angular velocity omega 2, which is nothing but V by 2R now we can write, right? So that is our BD value here. Now the magnetic field for both of them, now its length is equal to 4R. This length is nothing but 4R here. Now the magnetic field is there into the plane. Now let us write the potential difference produced across A and C. So out of that A and C, let us also identify that which is a higher potential there. So magnetic field is there into the plane. Now this conductor is moving along this direction towards left here. Then current is flowing in downward direction. So C will be the higher potential there. So we can write this as Vc minus Va is equal to B into omega 1 into 2R whole square by 2. Just we are writing it as a rotation of a rod formula. B omega L square by 2 formula, just I am writing there. So therefore this is Vc minus Va is equal to B into 2R square into that omega value. Now I need to write this as V by R. And so omega 1 value I am substituting there. So that this Vc minus Va is equal to 2B R into V. Now I can write here. Is it clear? So that will be the induced EMF produced in that rod AC. Now similarly let us write for this BD rod. So now let us write for this BD rod here. So for that BD again let us apply this right hand rule to identify the direction there. Field is into the plane. Now the conductor is moving along this direction. So now the current is flowing from again D to B. So again D is a higher potential there, right? So that I can write this as Vd minus Vb is equal to, for this field is there into the plane. Field is there into the plane and current is flowing along this direction. Current is flowing along, rod is moving along this direction. So current is flowing along this direction here. Current is flowing along the direction means we mentioned like Vc minus Va. And for this now you will get in like this. Field is into the plane. Now the current is flowing, rod is moving along this direction. So now the current is flowing from D to A. Current is flowing from D to A means then D will be the as Vb minus Vd. So then this will be the potential difference we need to write here. So this value now I can write it as B into omega T2 into length is 4R, 4R square by 2. And so that this Vb minus Vd is equal to 16, 16 by 2 means 8, 8B R square into omega 2. Omega 2 means now we can substitute here V by 2R. So we can write this as V by 2R. Therefore this is Vb minus Vd is equal to, you can write it as 4. 4B 4b v into r, now we can write. So now those are the potential difference between those 2 points, their respective points. Let us take this as equation 1 and equation 2. Alright, and so now you need to find the potential difference between A and B. So you can find the difference between these 2 points here. These are the potential difference between those 2 points there, and so now you can find the potential difference between those 2 points, means you can find the difference between these 2 equations here. So I am adding those 2 equations here, equation 1 plus equation 2, now you can write. So if you are adding those 2 equations, then actually what you will get there is Vc minus Va plus Vb minus Vd is equal to, here it is 2BRV plus 4B RV. And so, but here the thing what you need to write here is this value. Now I can write this as Vb minus Va is equal to 6B RV. So now this is nothing but our required potential difference. So why we are writing like that means it is given that this is a conducting, this surface is a conducting surface. So once this surface is conducting surface, then definitely the potential of C and potential of D must be same. And so that potential of C and potential of D will be cancelled here. So that you may mention in brackets here. So since that potential of C is equal to potential of D, you may identify, you may read the question again, that is mentioned that as conducting surface, that surface is a conducting surface, right? So like that you need to solve here. Next, sometimes based related to this rotatory motion, they will give a combination of translational and rotational motion. Just I will explain that how to solve that, so that you can simplify that further problem here. So let us consider this rod is rotating, that means it is moving with velocity v, and it is having this angular velocity omega also. So this is our point like A, B, and this is the point C I am taking here. This length is L, you may consider. This is V by L value I am taking here, angular velocity, right? So just write that there is a uniform magnetic field of B. A rod AB of length L, a rod AB of length L is moving such that its velocity of center of mass is V, its velocity of center of mass is V, and angular velocity is V by L. Angular velocity is V by L. It is moving in a normal magnetic field of induction B. It is moving in a normal magnetic field of induction B. Then find the potential difference between AC. Find the potential difference between AC and AB. AC and AB. So if it is a rod, for example, that means if it is having only translatory motion, we know BLV formula we can apply. And if it is having only angular velocity, then also we know. We need to apply that B omega L square by 2 formula. But now the rod is in combined motion. It is translational as well as rotational here. And so that now we need to solve by taking the resultant velocity here, right? So, you know, if you are taking first time, I will explain for this AC, and so that you can find that BC value in a similar way. Now suppose if I am taking a small element here, let us take a small element here. So let us take a small element at a distance of x from this, and let us take this element as dx here. Now can you say that what is the velocity of this element here? So velocity of that element means, then velocity of that element is a superposition of velocity due to translatory motion and velocity due to rotatory motion, right? So velocity due to translatory motion is same as that of velocity of center of mass v. And next, velocity due to rotatory motion is like x omega along this direction, right? So that this element, suppose I am naming it as therefore velocity of resultant. So resultant velocity of small element. So small element, now we can write this as, suppose let us take this as V1. So that will be V plus x omega, now we can write. Where omega means finally you may substitute that value there, or you can write this as So I can write this expression as V1 is equal to V plus V by L into X. Now we can write here, right? So that will be omega value if you substitute. So now that element is moving with this velocity here. So now you can apply that BLV formula for that element. So for small element, again now what we can write here is for small element. So for small element we can write this as, so induced EMF, now we can write this as B into velocity of that element into dx we can write. Now BVL formula now we are writing here. And so that V means resultant velocity now we need to consider. And so that this is nothing but dE is equal to B into V plus V x by L into omega into this dx. And so now we need the finally potential difference between A and C, and you can identify which end is a higher potential there. So field is into the plane and now the rod is moving along this direction. So current is flowing from C to A. So current is flowing from C to A means then A will be the higher potential there. And so that I can write this as VA minus VC is equal to integral of BV into V also I am taking common 1 plus x by L into dx. And it varies from x varies from 0 to L by 2 only. So their limits also important here. I gave this total length as L only. So this is L by 2. Now integrate that, then you will get this potential difference between them. Now in a similar way, if you want to find the potential difference between B and C. So if you want to find the potential difference between B and C, now again in a similar way you need to write the resultant velocity. But while writing this resultant velocity of this element here, suppose if I consider an element at a distance of x from this, then velocity of this element means due to translatory motion V will be there along the direction. But due to rotatory motion here, velocity of this lower element will be there in backward direction due to rotation. So that this velocity now we need to write this as x omega, right? And so that then the resultant velocity of this element, let it be V2, then we need to write this as V minus x omega you need to write. So in a similar way, so everything will be similar. So except here you will get the minus sign here. That is only the difference there. And do that calculation also, then you will get the potential difference between these 2 points here. So for these 2 points, then you will get the potential difference. And from that you can find the potential difference between A and B also. Now we can find that potential difference between A and B also, right? So like that you can calculate the potential difference there. And so in case of combined motion, you need to remember that you need to find the resultant velocity of that element and then you need to integrate that, right? So those are some problems based on this rotation here, rotation of these objects. And now let us see this another problem here, right? So I am taking this another problem. So just write that a disk of radius R, a disk of radius capital R is revolving with angular velocity omega about its own axis, is revolving about its own axis with angular velocity omega. There is no any field in that region. There is no any field in that region. Then find the potential difference between center and edge of the disk. Potential difference between center and edge of the disk. So here this is an interesting problem here. I mentioned already in the question, there is no any field in that region. That means there is no magnetic field and there is no like electric field. That means there is no such a electric and magnetic fields, but just it is rotating about its own axis. And they are asking that any electric field, that means electric potential difference between edge and the disk, center and edge of the disk. So is there any potential difference just if the disk is rotating? Is there any chance of getting that potential difference? So the answer is yes. There is some possibilities there. That means some electric field, that means some potential difference will be developed between the center and the edge because of that rotation. So its magnitude may be a small value, a small magnitude will be produced there, but some potential will be possible. If you are increasing that speed, angular velocity of this disk, then automatically more EMF will be developed without magnetic field or without presence of any external electric field. And so there is no any external electric or magnetic fields here. Is it clear? So now let us see how it is produced or why the potential difference is produced. Now just I am taking an electron here. So let us take an electron here at a distance of r from this. So at a distance of r from this, you may take it as a small element around this here. So you may take that as a small element around this. So that its radius is, distance is r. So here let us take one electron here. So now can you say, let us take free electron, what we are talking about free electron here. So when the disk is rotating like this, then that free electron will experience a pseudo force, right? That means that pseudo force is nothing but we can say centrifugal force. So that means that free electron is there, that free electron will experience a force in outward direction here. Like just if you are keeping any object on the surface, any object on the rotating surface, and just if it starts rotating there. So initially it may be in contact with the surface, then definitely for a particular speed the body will lose the contact and it will fall out of that disk. So right, so if your goes on increasing that angular velocity. Now similarly that is because of the centrifugal force only. If the friction is insufficient to balance that pseudo force or centrifugal force, then it will be thrown out. And so now similarly here those electrons will experience some pseudo force here. And so because of that pseudo force, these electrons will be moving around this, that means in outward direction there. So when the electrons are moving in outward direction, now there exists some potential difference will be developed there, right? So that means here this end will get this like suppose for this rotation if you are taking, then angular velocity will be, pseudo force is along this direction, outward direction, so that here you will get some negative sign here, that means negative charge will be accumulating here, and so that center should get some positive charge there, right? That means everywhere, not only this point, like that everywhere it will be there. Like if you are taking electron here, then it will be pseudo force will be there in outward direction. If you are taking here, it will be there like this, or if you are taking here, then it will be there like this. So everywhere electron on that element, ring element what we are taking, they are experiencing some outward force. So because of that outward force, the electrons are moving towards the edge of the disk. And so that what I am saying is this edge will get some negative charge here. So this edge is getting some negative charge. So when edge is getting some negative charge and the center is, then automatically you can say that center will get some equal amount of positive charge here. There is some deficiency of charge will be there at this center. So when there is some deficiency of the charge, some electrostatic field will be there. So this force we are taking it as mr omega square, pseudo force. This force is centrifugal force. And so now because of this charge separation, now electric field is nothing but now it is radially outward direction here, because positive charge is there and negative charge is out at the edge. So we know electric field will be towards that negative charge. So it is everywhere here, everywhere it is radially outward direction, that electric field is. And since we are taking it as an electron here, now force acting on that electron will be in opposite direction, electrostatic force. So this will be E will be along this direction here. So like similar to that of our mechanism of motional EMF, so in case of motional EMF also such a similar mechanism will take place there. One force will be magnetic force is displacing the electron to one side. So it will displace, once the electrons are displacing, then equal, that means electric field will be created, and so that electric force will act on the electrons in opposite direction. So the same phenomena will take place here, just instead of magnetic force, this pseudo force will place that role. That means centrifugal force will place that role here, right? And so that what we can write here is in equilibrium, I can mention this as so let us write here in equilibrium. So this displacement of the electrons will take place until it reaches the equilibrium. So I can write this as in equilibrium. So we can write this electric force plus this pseudo force is equal to 0. So this electric force I can write this as minus E into E plus mr omega square. This value is equal to 0, and so that this E is equal to mr omega square. Now we can write here, that is a electric field by E, electric field developed in that region, right? And so if once if you know the electric field, then we can calculate this potential difference there. So then we know this dV is equal to, now we can write this as minus E into E bar dot dr bar. Now we can write here. And so now you can integrate that to get the potential difference between center and the edge. Suppose now I am writing this as a potential difference between center and edge I am writing here, potential difference between edge. And so this is from 0 to R now we need to take here, where R is the radius of this ring. So this is potential difference between the edge minus potential difference between the center you will get. So minus of, now this E means you can substitute this expression here, mr omega square by E into dr. So dr into that angle between those two terms will be 0 you will get here, like it is cos 0. So that this is 0 to capital R you will get. And you can multiply this negative sign here, then that means this negative sign I am taking here, clearly you can show that center will be the higher potential there, right? So center is positive and edge we are getting as negative. So just I am taking negative sign common or this side. So this is V center minus V edge, we can write this as B omega square. Here you can substitute, you can integrate here R dr you will get, so R square by 2. So this is R square by 2, now we can write here, right? So 2E. So now that will be the potential difference between the center and edge. Center and edge of this disc here, due to its own rotation. There is no any magnetic field here. Sorry, this is not B, M. This is M. M omega square R square, right? And so now such a similar problem is there in translatory motion also. In translatory motion also such a EMF may be developed there because of its pseudo force. So now let us, I will give that problem and so try to solve that problem here. Say rod of length L is under action of two forces like this, or they may consider it as a single force also, just I am taking it as two forces here. And so let us take this as F1 is greater than that of F2. So this is end A and this is the end B. So just mention that a rod of length L is accelerating under the action of forces F1 and F2 as shown in figure. Is accelerating under the action of forces F1 and F2 as shown in figure. There is no any other force here. That means you may consider that it is moving on a smooth horizontal surface, you may consider there. Then find the induced EMF developed between A and B. Then find the induced EMF developed between A and B. So in a similar way write that. So in a similar way means just I will explain this electric field calculation so that you can do the remaining. So let us consider it is accelerating along this direction here. So that acceleration you can write this as A is equal to F1 minus F2 by M, you can write the acceleration of this. So because of that acceleration, if I consider an electron here, say at a distance of x from this end here, so then this element, this electron is experiencing some pseudo force along this direction here, right? So this is electron we are taking here, that electron is experiencing some pseudo force along the direction. So because of that pseudo force here, the free electrons will accumulate at this end A here, and so that deficiency of electrons will be there at this position. And so now there is some electric field will be there in this direction here. Electric field is developed in this direction here. This electric field is developing because of the displacement of electrons. And so now electric force will be there along this direction here, because this is an electron. Force acting on the electron is opposite to that of electric field. So electric field is acting in opposite direction there. And so from that what we can write here is that electric force E into E is equal to MA, now we can write. So therefore that E is equal to M into A, you can write here A by E. So now this value is a constant value, so you can solve it easily. Here this A is a variable, so that also you need to remember here. This electric field is a variable here. That means it depends on this length, the distance from the center. Sometimes in the question they will ask about that also. But here that electric field is a constant electric field. So where A means just you need to substitute that value, that is also a constant value, right? So that I can write this actually this expression as F1 minus F2 by E you will get, because that MA is nothing but this expression. So just integrate this value, or you can write as the field is uniform field, you can write this, you can just multiply this value with the L length, or you can follow our integration method. So integral of dV is equal to minus A bar dot dl bar, now we can write here. And so now we can write this values as suppose if you are taking like VA and VB value, and so that sorry, you need to take like B to A. So because x value I am taking from this, so you need to take like that. Limits accordingly you need to take here. So this is VB and VA I am taking here. So then this is V into like dx, and now this x varies from 0 to L here. So like that you need to take that. And so then finally you can write VA minus VB is equal to minus E into L you can write, because E is a constant value, so you can substitute and you can take it out. So finally you will get this VB minus VA is equal to E into L. So therefore this VB minus VA is equal to E is nothing but F1 minus F2 by E, so into L. So that gives the induced EMF in that case here. So that means sometimes I may ask a questions like this. Without this electric field and magnetic field also, then induced EMF will maybe produced there. Actually this value will be considerable amount will be there when these values are very high, like when the angular velocity is very high, or similarly here when acceleration is very high, then such a considerable value will be there. Otherwise it will be negligible value will be there, right? So this is about rotation of the object and motional EMF here, right? In the next class I will discuss about induced electric fields, right? Thank you.